Going on, guys? My name is Alex Acedo. Today we're gonna go over 4 non-programming tech jobs that pay over $100,000. And if you ever wanted to get into the tech industry but don't want to code, then this video it's gonna be for you. Now, a STEM degree, it's going to be helpful, but as you will see here in a few seconds, you don't have to have it. And when I say that if programming is not your thing, this video is for you, then this video is for me too. Because guess what? My first major in college was computer science and I did not like it. I did not enjoy it. So I switched to mechanical engineering and I graduated in 2012. I've been providing engineering technical services in the beginning of my career. I've also gotten into the field of project management, logistics, and all in the defense industry. Just to give you a little bit of background or where I'm coming from with this video. Now, with all this being said, before we jump into the fields that I want to share here with you today, please make sure that you crush the like button and consider subscribing if you find this video useful. With all of that out of the way, the first field I want to share with you today, it's one of the ones that I'm quite familiar with, and that is the sales engineering field. And the sales engineering field, it's basically a hybrid between technical concepts and business. And it's very rare to think of sales engineering and not think of sales or car salesman or think of engineering itself. And there's a lot of people that get repelled by this because they don't want to do sales or they're intimidated by engineering, the engineering word. But it's really a hybrid and it's more of a business role as opposed to a technical concept. Now, to give you a quick example of what a sales engineer does, imagine you want to buy yourself a laptop. Well, you go to your local computer store, Apple, Microsoft, whatever it is, and when you arrive, there's going to be a person that's going to come out and start asking you questions on what you want the laptop for, what are you going to do with it, and based on your answers, that person is going to start making recommendations. Well, that's basically what a sales engineer does in very simple terms or in a very simple situation. But in industry, a sales engineer is going to be dealing with very complex software. It's going to be dealing with very complex mechanical systems, of course, in other fields, but that's generally speaking what they do. Now, when it comes to salary, sales engineers get paid at about $140,000 average. Of course, take this as a general reference because we all know, or you should know, that the salary and the money that you make is going to depend on your experience, where you are in the United States, of course, also your negotiation skills. Now, when it comes to background, I've seen both. I've seen people that come with a STEM degree, but I've seen people that come with no experience or no college degree, but they do have a little bit of experience. And actually, I do have a sales engineering playlist that you can check out here in my channel. I talked to a mechanical engineer who got into sales engineering, and I also talked to Emmanuel, another sales engineer, but did not get a college degree. I encourage you to go check out the playlist if you want to know more about this role. Now, if you're interested in this role, this is for people that like to communicate or are okay with developing communication skills. You're going to be talking to a lot of people as a sales engineer and always wanting to learn new things because it's not breaking news that things in the tech industry change quite a bit, quite often. And so you must train yourself and learn a lot of things, a lot of new things that are coming up in the industry. Now, also, you got to be okay with giving presentations because you're going to be talking with clients and providing solutions to clients, to presentations. And of course, also be solution driven and have the willingness to always help others. So to get started with this field, I highly encourage you to go check out the playlist that I talked about a few seconds ago, and I'm going to link it here in the description of this video. Okay, with that being said, let's jump on to the second field that requires no programming and that is going to help you get into the tech industry, and that is project management. Now, this is a field that I personally gotten into myself, not in the tech industry, but I was in the project manager role a couple of years ago, and basically they run the project. They are the ones that worry about the money, with the cost. They always want to make sure that you meet deadlines. And if you are an engineer, most likely you've already dealt with a project manager, and that is the person that you answer to. That's the person that gives you the deadlines, the money that you have to spend on your project, and also the person that along with the customer establishes the technical requirements for whatever it is that you're building. And of course, in the tech industry, you're going to be dealing mainly with software. Now, the project manager is also the person that starts analyzing what could go wrong with the project. That's also called risk, things that may or may not go wrong. Also, of course, you want to make sure that you mitigate those risks. And as a project manager, you will also be dealing with a ton of experts, and you're going to be in constant communication with your team. Now, let's talk money. When it comes to money, with the project managers, they make median about $116,000 per year. As I spoke a few seconds ago, it's going to depend on a lot of parameters. When it comes to getting into this field, if you are interested, when it comes to background, a lot of project managers that I've worked with, they do have a STEM degree. I've also heard of some project managers that don't have a college degree, but they do rack up a lot of experience. So what do I suggest you do? One of the things that I ask you to do is you actually take a look at project management positions and see what kind of requirements they have in their job description and see how you can start meeting those. One thing that also helps people is the project management professional certification, which some companies ask you to get one when you are in the project management role on the payroll. So that's something else that you can put on your resume, but always make sure that you are actually going to need it. You don't just want to get a certification or a degree and then later on realize that you don't need it. Now, who is this for? If you are someone that likes to or is okay with communicating, also when it comes to project management, you also want to be a visionary. You want to see what could go wrong, how you can start taking care of potential issues before they actually happen. But don't worry, these are skills that you can learn along the way. These are skills that you can learn from other people, that you can get training on. It's not something that we are all born with. And great project managers are able to see what's going on, ask the right questions, and these are all things that comes out of curiosity. Curiosity is a huge one that I should have put here. Okay, now, when it comes to further skills that you need as a project manager, also be okay with presentations, as you will be talking with clients a lot, talking with your team, talking with leadership, always looking for solutions. And again, working well with others, because you can't be on your own and be a project manager. You depend on too many people to work on your own. Now, if you want to get started, I do have a video on project management that you can watch so you can learn my experience and what I think of it. And then also look for project management positions and see what they require. I'm also going to give you another tool that you can use to get into this field, and I'm going to share that in a few seconds. Now, let's jump onto the third field that does not require programming and that can get you in the tech industry. And this role, it's similar to a project manager, but not quite. And that is product management in the tech industry. And what do? Quote, the product manager is also called the product mini CEO or the CEO. And the product manager, generally speaking, is the lead architect. It's the product visionary. The product manager worries about the features, the roadmap, the scheduling, the cost. There's some overlapping there also along with project managers, as I mentioned here in the presentation. But here is the distinction. According to Google, while a product manager sets the vision, goals, and business trajectory of a product, a project manager leads the many projects to make those goals a reality. So the project manager is a little bit more hands-on, and the product manager is one that sets the vision of where the whole team is going with the product. Of course, talking with the client and getting in communication with the team and see where we are all going and what kind of solution we need for a certain problem. When it comes to product management, the salary in the United States on average is about $112,000, and the background that you need to get into this field, generally speaking, a STEM degree or business experience also counts. And I've seen some interviews with some product managers, and also you can apply right out of college. You don't have to have experience as a product manager, or you can transfer internally once you are already in a tech company, or maybe you are in a certain industry where you want to get to the product management position. Then you can use one tool that I'm going to share with you in a second to get your feet in the door, so that way you can open up and start making progress towards getting a product management position. So who is this for? Of course, similar to project management, communicators and visionaries. You are okay with giving presentations, always looking for solutions. You're always curious, asking why, how, and of course also working well with others all the time. You can't be on your own as a product manager, because you have a team that you depend on, and the team depends on you for your guidance and your vision. So one of the things that I suggest you do to get started with this field, look for product management positions that you can apply right out of college if that's something that you are interested in. And I would also look for other companies that are looking for product managers, even if you are already in industry, and see what kind of experience they require you to have. Okay, so far I mentioned a couple of times already that there is a field that you can use to get into an industry or to get into a company, and then you can take that as a lead and work your way through, so that way you are more exposed and open to product management positions or project management positions. And that is the case, and it brings me to my last point here, my last non-programming tech job that I want to share with you guys today, and that is technical writers. Now, you might be asking and you might be thrown aback a little bit, but just hear me out for a second. And technical writers, they deliver complex ideas in very simple terms. They write reports, instructions, test procedures, features of a certain software, of course, in the case of the tech, processes, solutions to certain problems, and more. So, of course, in tech, they describe the how and why behind the software, the process, instructions, requirements, and of course, the problem, solution. So basically, what I'm saying here is technical writers know the ins and outs of the software, and they want to make sure that they are able to deliver the message that they need to deliver to the right audience. Now, the second bullet that I have here in this presentation, and I mentioned, is a lead to an industry. And I do mention that technical writing can be boring. And personally, I've worked with technical writers in the past. And here's the thing, here's the interesting thing that a lot of them did. The organization for which I was working, there was a lot of engineers that wanted to work for the organization. Of course, we weren't always hiring. But one thing that I noticed is that there were some people that would go into the organization and they would start their career as technical writers. Now, the technical writer is kind of a boring job because you are basically just given instructions, and then you come in and you get your paper and you start writing letters, test procedures, and things like that, right? So the ones that I saw were basically many times on their own. Now, what they did after 1 year or year and a half of being in the technical writing role, they would start looking for other positions within the organization, such as project management. Others started becoming more of technical experts. Others became more of risk managers. And so my point here is, if you think technical writing is not something that you want to get into right away, well, think of it in terms of a lead to a company or lead to a certain industry. If you are thinking, okay, I'm trying to get into, let's just say, Microsoft for that instance, but I can't find a product management position. I cannot find a project management position. One thing that you could certainly do is look for technical writing positions, which I'm sure there won't be that many applicants. There won't be that many people that are applying for such positions. And you can apply for that position and you get it. And then once you go in there, you start making good connections, you start growing your network, and you start eyeing positions and see what are the possibilities for growth. And once you identify those positions, then you can start making moves within a year and a half, depending on how you are liking or doing in the position. So that's certainly an option that you can use in a lead that is going to take your salary from $62,000 per year to a lot more when you transition to other bigger roles. So technical writing, take it as a lead. And hey, you're not programming with technical writing. You do have to know, I want to say, and this is something that you learn. It's going to be very useful to learn what the code is doing, what it's solving. And I've actually developed software in the past, not as a developer actually doing the coding, but I was the project manager for a software development project. And believe me, I had an idea of what the software was doing, what it needed to do, and I would see it work. And I wasn't doing any of the coding. The people that were doing the coding were the electrical engineers, the software engineers. So as a technical writer or project management, product manager, it's going to be useful to learn or to know what the code is doing, but it's not going to be something that you are going to be doing right there and then. So when it comes to background needed to become a technical writer, you're talking about, generally speaking, a STEM degree, because that's going to help you, of course, teach you how to do technical writing. And for many of these positions, depending on what kind of technical writing you're doing, you really don't need that much experience as far as I see it, as far as the people that I work with. So I suggest that you start looking into these positions and see how you can get one of these. Now, Who is this for? It's for people who want to understand the why and how. If you are generally curious, which if you are in the STEM field, let's say, assume, it's a good assumption to say that you are someone that is curious, you are okay with giving presentations at times, also working solo because you're going to be writing a lot. And so if you also want to use it as a stepping stone, then this field can be a great one for you. You can get started by obviously looking for technical writing positions and see what they require, and of course, go from there. So with that being said, one thing that I want to share here with you, if you want to know everything that I've learned in the last 10 years as a mechanical engineer, if you want to learn how to overcome imposter syndrome, what is expected from you as a new engineer, how to be taken seriously as an entry-level engineer, and many other things that took me 10 years to learn, I strongly encourage you to get the Entry-Level Engineer's Guide to Adapt and Succeed in the Real World, where I put all my knowledge, all my wisdom, all my lessons, something that you can read in 30 minutes. Is a very easy read. Many of you guys have already gotten it. I appreciate your support. So if you are someone that wants to gain all this insight, go ahead and grab a copy. I'm going to leave a link in the description. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And if you did, please like it and subscribe. It really does help out the channel. And also, if you want to learn more about the sales engineering role, which who knows, it may or may not be something that I will get into in the future myself, go check out this playlist over here where you're gonna learn a lot of information on how to network, how to get into industry, and how you can get in tech yourself and crush it in your career. I'll see you guys over there. Peace.